Good morning, my brothers and sisters. Good morning, and welcome to another Good Morning Grief devotional. It's your boy, Pastor Corey Allen Duncan Sr. So happy and excited to have this wonderful opportunity to come to you today in a very special way to lead you in another Good Morning Grief devotion. This is the daily grief devotion that is strategically designed to help you to navigate through your grief one day at a time. What is grief? I'm so glad you asked. Grief, my brothers and sisters, it is the natural and normal response to loss, change, and transition that results in the expressions of feelings and emotions. Grief is what you feel on the inside. Mourning is what you reveal, how you reveal it on the outside. Therefore, we don't suppress it, but we express it. We don't ignore it, but we explore it. We don't conceal it, but we reveal it. We don't lock it up, but we let it out. And that's why we shout good morning, because morning is a good thing. And we are grateful to have this wonderful opportunity to lead you today, this morning, in another Good Morning Grief devotion. Today is day 117, and we're going to talk about something very awesome today. We're going to talk about what if I choose to believe that all will be well? What if I choose to believe that all will be well? In the midst of what you're going through, dealing with everything that you're facing, what if you choose to believe that all will be well? You have the opportunity to make this great choice to believe that it will be well. What happens if you choose to believe that all will be well? Some people have faith that all will be well. They trust that no matter what hardships they, their loved ones, or the they would they or the would are going through at this moment. I think that's or they would are going through. Let me see. That's a typo. Let me see. Because I want to read it right. Some people have faith that all will be well. They trust that no matter what hardships they, their loved ones, or the world, or the would, or the world are going through at this moment, eventually everything will be okay. I say all the time, when you start talking about grief, there's different elements. You got to attack it from a physical standpoint, right? You got to do things that will enhance you physically. Diet and exercise is important. What you eat, what you consume, getting some physical activity, all that can help when it comes to grief. You got to attack it from a mental, emotional standpoint. Therapy is important. Counseling, grief counseling, all of those things are important. It helps you to unpack and process and digest your grief, what you're dealing with. But then also, y'all, it's not either or, it's both and. The faith aspect is so important as well. And a lot of times people utilize their faith to help them to navigate through grief. It's not either or, it's both and. Oftentimes people shun the faith aspect and they want to push the mental and emotional health, the therapy, the counseling. And y'all, they work together. You can't shun one at the expense of the other. They work together, right? And so when it comes to the faith aspect, there are those of us that utilize our faith, right? Some people have faith that all will be well. They trust that no matter what hardships they, their loved one, or the world are going through at this moment, eventually everything will be okay, right? They have faith. They navigate through this season, through this process, diving and digging deep into their faith as they navigate through the waters of grief. It was John Lennon who said everything will be okay in the end. If it's not okay, it's not the end. I can choose to believe this too if I want. This belief would take away my need to grieve and mourn authentically right now, but it would be a beacon for me in the distance. I love it because I choose to believe that everything will be okay. Everything will be okay in the end. If it's not okay, it's not the end. Yeah, this is so very important for you to realize and understand as you navigate through this journey. We believe, I just said in the early devotion, we have hope, right? Not only do we have hope that God will see us through, that God will bring us through and pull us through, but we know that when we actively mourn, when we go through the process, right? When we not just grieve, but when we mourn, when we actively mourn, when we when we follow all of these tool tips and techniques and takeaways, right? When we mix some action, when we feel, when we reveal, and when we heal, when we actually do the work, y'all, we can really and truly believe that we're going to be okay. We're talking about the faith element, and we know and understand that faith without works is dead. That we can have faith that in the end we'll be okay. But when we put some works with that faith, when we have some fundamental principles, when we actually navigate through that process, no, it just doesn't have to be a mystical, spiritual type thing. No, we can really ensure that as we walk by faith and not by sight, as we handle this in a very practical way as well, that in the end, we truly will be okay, right? Continue to navigate through this process. Continue to believe and hold on to your faith. Continue to mourn actively. Continue to mix some actions with your faith, knowing that in the end, guess what? We're going to be all right. I promise you that. I can choose to believe this too if I want. This belief wouldn't take away my need to grieve or mourn authentically right now, but it would be a beacon for me in the distance. Here's the final thought, y'all. I choose to remember that out of darkness eventually comes light. I choose to remember that out of darkness eventually comes light. I want you to know and understand that yes, out of darkness eventually there will be some light. Today is day 117. I'm so glad y'all tuned in, y'all. What if I choose to believe that all will be well? I want to encourage you, choose to believe that all will be well because all will be well. I love you with the love of the Lord. Thank you for tuning in to another Good Morning Grief devotion. Let's go.